Welcome to another very interesting day on planet Earth. And I know I haven't come with a message for a while, but I wanted to drop in today because there are a few little things that have dropped in this week into my consciousness that I absolutely felt I needed to share. And I guess the biggest one, first of all, is that gift you have inside of you that has been waiting to be birthed, whether it's your inner courage, your inner resilience. Everything is being called on at the moment, and you're having to step into your truth, which is really hard because when you look into the outside world, there certainly is a truth out there that I don't recognize. It's certainly not a world that I want to live in currently. So one of the things we're being asked to do is to see the narrative, see the dark aspects of our consciousness that have been there for eons, that especially been planned for the last 150, 200 years. This has always been there that we're being asked to look at, and some of us are finding it very hard. In fact, I was in a group today that we come together every fortnight, and we were just saying within our families, we're the only ones that seem to be able to see the narrative for what it is and stand in our own consciousness. It's like the light was created in each family to hold the truth, or the light that leads us to the creator or God or source energy, whatever you call that for you. And so it's really challenging. And I think I have one son that understands the way I think and stands in his power, but all the rest of my family, my grandchildren, have all been caught up in the narrative and the fear, because there is only two emotions. There's either love or fear. And what we're being asked to do is to always choose what love would do. And unfortunately, the current narrative says, if you don't choose my narrative, then unfortunately we will somehow cause you pain, whether it's loss of your job or loss of your money or not being able to participate in society. And so that really breaks the way that we live in the world, where you have the haves and have-nots. And that's certainly not how the Creator wanted us to live. That's not living in love. And what I find interesting is all the people who sit there, for instance, in coffee shops or restaurants, looking at the other people who can't, and they somehow in their consciousness have come to some peace about this is okay. And it's not okay when we're divided. It's absolutely not okay. And so I feel for the people that feel like they've been forced to do something, but then there's a whole group of people in the world, and I'm not just talking about a small group, I'm talking about thousands and millions of people who absolutely think like we do, creation, life, love, and they're coming together, and say, this is not the world we want to live in. This is not the humanity I want to be part of. So as creators, what is it that we actually want to envisage into the world? And we need to spend that time, because the outer narrative is trying to suck all your life force with their narrative. And we have a very powerful creating aspect to our consciousness. So turn off the television, put down the paper, go out into nature and start to think, what is it that I would like to see where I live, the people around me? How would my world be? Am I taking more responsibility for what I grow and eat? Am I nurturing my body? What could we come together as a collective? Don't let your life force be stolen by somebody else in the outer world. Use it to create something better. That's how powerful we are. Now, I was reminded this week of some of us praying, and with a prayer for help and despair. And our prayers are always heard. It's just not in how we think that they should be heard. And so often when we send control in what we do in the technologies of Grigori Grabovoi, or we send a prayer, we send it to God or the Creator and say, you know, come on, hear what I want. Well, God's not going to turn around and say, hey, down there, Marion, I'm hearing you, and this is what I want to tell you. It's nothing like that. If you think of how the whole universe is constructed, it's constructed in geometric forms and patterns and number codes. So it makes sense that the answer will come in a way that is in some way coded. So for instance, you might have an intuitive thought, something just occurs to you, whether you need to catch up with somebody or go to a location, because at that location you're supposed to meet somebody. And you might start to see there's, like I do, like patterns in numbers, and you'll hear a common name or a common number, and you'll start to see there's little threads. I call them, you know, synchronistic moments that bring us together, because this is the way creation, this is the way Creator God speaks with us, in those moments of intuition and certainly with synchronicity. But if you're caught up in the outer narrative, you won't have the opportunity to have that quiet, to absolutely listen to things that happen, and follow the inner nudgings that you get from your soul. So the Creator won't shout at you. It will, she will absolutely send you some synchronicity, and it's up to you to follow the patterns. And then you can see what, you know, how creation is structured. Now, I was speaking with the group today, and, you know, the thought was, well, when's everything going to come to an end? When are we going to get back to normal? And so I threw the question at them in reverse, and I said, why can't we get back to normal? Why can't we get back to normal at the moment? What would happen if all of a sudden all the restrictions stopped and everybody was able to do as they wanted and go back to how things were before? How would this nearly 2 years have changed humanity for the better? Has it brought people closer together, or has it divided us? Have we started to think outside the box and think, okay, if I haven't got my job, I do have my skills, my knowledge, which has value, and where can I share that? Or am I now seeking groups who are working outside the system because they've been ostracized perhaps, and now they're coming together and starting to form other groups and support networks? So what's changed if we just went back? And I think that always reminds me of why we still need to travel this path for a little bit longer, unfortunately, for more people to actually see how much corruption there has been woven through all the different systems. And still, unfortunately, there's some that don't see that, and that's just where they are on their journey. And it's very hard, to not get into the judgment, but we must actually step out of that. We can't see you are this and I am that. That's what they want to encourage us to be, in this division. These are just people on their levels of development, and we see where they are at the moment. There's no condemnation at all. It's just having empathy for where they are. So as I've been saying to our community, between August and December, it is going to get really very heavy, and it was going to really push many of us to the edge. And I think if you're sitting at your house and feeling very lone and you're not supported in some way, I'm going to encourage you at this time to actually reach out and find a friend, find a group. Please lean into some support at this time, because there's no time to be by yourself in your own thoughts and feeling like you're living in hopelessness, because that is not where we are. That's not where we are. We're just going through this massive transition. The other thing is that we have also circling is the Atlantean timeline. And that's really hitting this year's timeline. And a couple of reasons why that's happening. Firstly is because for many of you that know that what happened in Atlantis, the whole civilization was wiped out. They did it to themselves through greed and manipulation, absolutely the same as we're seeing now. So what happened in Atlantis was similar to what's happening now. And for many of you, you will be feeling very strongly about this resonance with Atlantis because many of you were there. You were there at Atlantis. You remember what it's like, and you remember your role there. You know, for me, I have a really inner knowing that I was the keeper of one of the keepers of the knowledge, and we kept it in crystals. And I guess that's why in this lifetime, I am keeper of the knowledge, keeper of the creator knowledge, and showing people how to use it and step back into their power, remembering who they are. And so at this time, we're clearing that timeline, and we need all the courage, resilience, and help that we can. And if you're feeling a bit lost at the moment, you know, one of the laws of creation is non-interference. So your soul, creator, the masters, guides, whoever you believe in, then all you need to do is ask for help, ask for some support. And okay, you might be able to see them in the physical realm with your eyes, but they still exist just in other dimensions, and you can't see them with your physical eyes. Perhaps, as some of our group might have said, they might feel them with, and one lady was saying in our group, she feels her daughter who died over 6 years ago, she feels her squeezing her hand. And for me, my dad comes in, and I can always tell because he has this old man smell around him. So they're always there to support you. You just need to ask for some assistance. And if you're feeling totally alone, please reach out to me, send me a message, and I'll help, absolutely help you and welcome you certainly into a space where you're feeling supported, or into our group where you feel supported. Anyway, I hope this helps you get through this last pointy end of the transition. We still have a little bit of unwinding to do. We still have a lot of creating. We still need to look at the world that we want to create and see the distortions, acknowledge them, but don't dive into the emotions of it and feel like things are hopeless. That's the narrative they want you to feel. And so if you've been put in a corner and you've been cut off, and you've had funds cut off, or support cut off, or you've had your job cut off, I can certainly steer you in the way of groups who are supporting people in a real sense, where people are trading their knowledge, their skills, and being rewarded in the way that we normally expect. So I hope that gives you a little bit of hope and love for this first week. Today's the 5th of November. So, gosh, I never thought I could live through a couple of years of this. And yet here we are. We're living through it in some way, and we've got the strength to do it. So I encourage you to stand in your power, take lots of moments in nature, because that is all about life and creation. And I'm sending lots of love to you in this moment of time. And bye for now, everyone.